Good morning, everyone. This is being filmed 5 weeks after the video that this is actually being posted on. Well, I did the move. I'm currently sitting in Mar del Plata, Argentina, probably the most beautiful city I've ever been to, and life is really good right now, and I'm really happy I made the move. So the first vlog is just a 30-minute ramble, as this next one is that I'm about to film. Still learning how to work the camera. I need to get a new piece for filming at like low light, like in club situations and whatever. But anyway, I'm happy here and life is good. So for the 5 people watching, thank you. Hello. I'm just gonna film this in one take because I feel like it's a little more natural and the reason why I'm doing this. My name is Jeffrey Stevens from Spokane, Washington, and tomorrow I officially move out of the country. So I'm super excited. Never really been someone to film myself or anything like that, but you know, if this does go anywhere, if not, I could at least use it as perspective, assuming I get scared to film myself. I'm currently over in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Here's my baby boy, Nico. Definitely a nice area. I mean, again, moving out tomorrow, but I've been here for about 2 months getting ready for my move. It's the super nice view out here. Unfortunately, of course, the rent is pretty expensive. What am I even going to talk about? Speaking to this more as if it's for myself, looking back, when I come back to the US, if I do come back. I don't even know if I can prop my camera up, I'm sorry. Okay, not too bad. So yeah, where do I even start? The idea of moving out of the country, I think, you know, I saved up money to do my first international trip when I was 20, still in college. Worked a horrible construction job to go out to Thailand with a couple buddies for about 6 weeks and fell in love with it. But, you know, I didn't grow up with a lot of money, and pretty much all the money I did have went to college. So fast forward a couple years, didn't really go on any trips because I didn't really have that much. Things started getting better with my jobs after college and saved up, did a big trip to Tokyo and Vietnam with some friends, and then really got hooked to the idea of getting out of the whole stupid, cringy, you know, every traveler says it, but 9 to 5, and just kind of wanting to start my own life. So yeah, pretty much just blew all my money on traveling since then. So thankfully I've gotten the chance to go to Prague, Ireland, Thailand, Japan. I went to Peru. I went to Croatia. Let's see, might be forgetting one. I went to Ireland, Portugal, if I didn't already say that. And starting tomorrow, I officially am full-time moving to Buenos Aires, Argentina. Still don't know how to speak Spanish, but I'm working on it, and that accent is awful. What else? Obviously, I'm bringing Nico with me. That was incredibly difficult to make work. Probably the main reason why I honestly haven't left in the last couple of years. But anyway, why am I filming this? Whether this is going on YouTube, you know, assuming I actually decide to start talking or vlogging, which is the goal, you know, get out of my comfort zone. But if I am talking to myself, you know, in the future, I think it's very grass is always greener, and probably sounds spoiled to say it, but I just don't really like living in America currently, January 9th, 2025. I think ever since about 2015, 2019, things around here have been really weird, kind of more dark. I mean, again, obviously it's America. There are so many worse places to live, but when you're around just so many people that have differing opinions and ideas on life than you, it just kind of, you know, rubs you the wrong way. I think I haven't always been the happiest person, and, you know, I might portray it on the outside, but really the only times I feel like I've been truly happy in life were when I was traveling, getting to meet people from other cultures and going to these poorer areas and just seeing how happy people were, and no one talks about their jobs or their family money, anything like that. It's just happiness. And a lot of people say Europeans and individuals from like LATAM, any countries along this South America, they talk about the present and they talk about the past in good ways. They don't really talk about the future. They don't care about your job. It's not a part of a discussion. They don't care about the car you drive, anything like that. And, I've been a penny pincher essentially my whole life because I did grow up very, very poor, but I have saved enough to where I'm comfortably able to leave right now. I won't be working, at least for the first year or so, just to really kind of clear my head. I want to essentially like block all American media whatsoever. I don't want to see anything about politics, liberal or Republican. I don't want to see anything on Reddit or anything about things going on in the US. I don't care about the stock market. I just want to live in the moment, whatever the hell that means, which the only times in my life I've done that was when I was out of the country, whether that's like backpacking through Thailand and going to this weird jungle party, or water diving in the northern Vietnam where none of us had phone service, and literally the only white people essentially the country is pretty much ever. Oh, is this turning off? Sorry. Still figuring out this camera. Anyway, just going to like a truly alien area where like like we went to Japan and everyone's like, oh, you're a white person, like they'll freak out. Not really. I mean, it's like kind of common. It's not a big deal. But northern Vietnam, it was insane. I mean, it's like it's not like people come up and take photos, like they stare at you like, what the hell are you? And it's awesome. It's hilarious. And yeah, anyway, I'm rambling. I just want more out of life. I don't really care about having a traditional family and a white collar job where I sit in an office from 8 a.m. until 6, 7 p.m. every day. And the only things I care about are upgrading my car, getting a fancy car, and, wearing designer clothes. I don't really care about any of that. Not that money matters, but I do make more than almost anyone I do know around my age, just the way that I have made money with my job outside of college. And again, throwing all that away, throwing a well above 6-figure career to do this, to go live and work in hostels, to go work at a ski resort in Chile, hopefully, to go work with animals in rehabilitation clinics and forget about any idea of like American values of money and all this stupid shit that does not matter. I think I have a lot of conflicting opinions. I haven't really told 90%, 95% of my friends that I am leaving, just because even when I tell people I go on these trips, I get so much like backlash and hate and confusion. Even moving out of my hometown, I lost multiple of my best friends just because they thought it was so like disgusting to not want to live in like a small town where you grew up in, and the idea of seeing the world. And maybe that's like some of my own fault for, kind of attacking the idea of wanting to live in a small town your whole life. And, it's not that I made fun of the people, but more of just like the city itself. I grew up in a extremely small town with essentially no social life, no food. The fanciest restaurant where like you'd go to prom or like anniversaries is literally like a Red Robin or a PF Chang's. So it's a great city. I mean, like, I think when you're older, it'd be cool to live in, but there really isn't anything to do. And I just like, I don't know. It's just not really for me. And, I think at this point, there's over 8 billion people on the planet. There are so many different ways to live your life. And I hate how everyone has this idea that you have to do this in America. And I love when I go to another country. And just like a random example, we were trying to save money when we were in Peru because we were 2 weeks into the trip. Everyone's kind of broke. And we went to this like tiny little dive bar before going to a club. It's probably midnight. There's this cool looking dude, clearly not Peruvian or any descent or mestizo, anything like that. And, he looked like he was from America. And I started talking to him. Again, he was working there, and he's like some 34-year-old ginger dude, like pure pale skin, and he just went on this rant about how happy he was to be doing this. He quit some big job in finance. I think he said that. Funny story. I mean, I guess he got like catfished and like tricked into moving down here, and the girl actually never existed. Something horrible, but he made it work. He's just hanging out, working at this tiny place, probably making no money, but he has all his savings and he's happy. And he said it was, the best years of his life. But meeting someone like that to me is so much cooler than just some dude living in his house that he inherited with his family and living the most basic, mundane life where you're working some shitty sales job and you're never allowed to leave and you have to dress up for work every day. And I've done all that, and I sound really ignorant because I'm still in my 20s, but like, I just don't really want that. Honestly, I was happier when I was like a Domino's delivery driver in high school than when I was making like a high 6-figure salary. So, oh, cool. That's, sorry. Last of my Amazon packages. Argentina. I'm just going to pause until this guy leaves. How do I look? Okay, we are back. Back to the ramble. Where was I at? Why the hell am I going to Argentina? And do I pronounce that right? I still don't know. Number one reason, it's the only place I could bring my dog long term without having difficulties with visa issues. Honestly, I went to Prague over the summer, fell in love with every single thing. The people, the women, the culture, the weather, the food, the prices, and honestly just like the polar opposite work culture and like discussion culture as the US has. And it's honestly everything I really wanted in a country. And I kind of felt the same way about Peru. And, when I realized that to bring a dog out of the country without citizenship, if you go to a Schengen zone, which is a lot of the larger European countries, so there's a huge list, you could look it up, but it's, Italy, Germany, France, not the UK anymore, but Croatia, Prague, Switzerland, Sweden, any of those countries, your visa only works for 90 days for all of those, and then you have to leave. If you don't leave, you won't necessarily get in trouble, but if you get caught, you'll definitely get deported, and most importantly, you get a mark on your passport, so you can't go back. So having a dog, in a country that, might not be so dog friendly, the countries I was looking at living in, so kind of the weirder ones, like, shouldn't say weird, but to an American, but, Romania, Hungary, Prague, Austria, Latvia, I don't know, Estonia, countries like that. And I hope one of those isn't in South America. It might be. Anyway, where's that? Sorry, I messed up there. Still getting used to this filming thing. So yeah, Argentina. It's let's see, extremely dog friendly, English friendly. I really want to learn Spanish too, so I'm trying my best. I took like entry-level classes in high school, and the last couple months I've really been focused, but I just had this like bad idea that my dog wasn't going to get approved to move there or be able to fly in the cabin with me, so I wouldn't have gone, all these things. So I really only have been focused for a couple months on Spanish, and while working and moving and dealing with all the Florida hurricanes that wiped out my first house and my second house. So yeah, I don't own, I rent, obviously. I don't even own a car. But yeah, so why else? Perfect weather. There's all 4 seasons, and just essentially everything I've looked up about the country. Not only am I able to stay there with my dog long term, but it's relatively cheap. I know that they're definitely going through some financial crises right now, and everyone's complaining online that the prices are so absurd compared to what they were a year ago with the new president, but I just think it's kind of selfish to see it that way. You're supporting the country and their money's growing, so eventually it'll get better for the citizens there, and that's what matters. It's still outstanding, just a lot cheaper than the US. My rent, whether I'm in Seattle where I lived for a little bit, Scottsdale, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, where I am right now, you're really looking at, if you want to live alone, I mean, a casual place like, I shouldn't say casual, this is very nice and, you know, nicer than the house I grew up in, but, you know, just for a place like this, furnished, 1 bedroom, you know, you're looking at about $2,600 a month, so it's not cheap. The rent where I'm looking in Argentina, you know, the main city, Buenos Aires, and the downtown, me and my buddy are paying about $500 each to live in this beautiful skyscraper, everything included. And we're only there for 2 weeks, so the price is higher because we want to travel a little bit and kind of explore the world and, you know, see what Argentina has. So before just settling down. So this is the plan. We'll see where the next video takes us. But so we fly out tomorrow at midnight. My dog will be flying in the cabin seat with me. I thankfully was able to navigate my way to getting a larger seat for him too, so he has a lot of room. I've flown him since college too. He's always been with me. So fraternity dog, lived with me in the fraternity, lived with me pretty much everywhere I've ever gone, and he's about 7 right now. So he's, again, this whole trip, why I came down to Fort Lauderdale in the first place, everything was planned over the last 2 years or so to make this work and make it the easiest I could for him. I've chickened out of this trip a couple times. I was actually supposed to leave this August, but I just got scared and a little nervous. You know, I think that might be why I'm filming this right now. I'm supposed to be packing, but nerves are kind of hitting me, so I wanted to film something to distract myself. And what else? Yeah, so this whole thing was really to make it the easiest for him. If I did leave from Seattle, which is where I was previously, it would have been about 32 total hours in the airports or airplanes. I can't do that to my dog. That's horrible, and it's just, I can't make it work. I wouldn't do that to him. So flying down here, I've been here since September, just all around Florida. Again, the hurricanes kind of wiped me out, so I moved from St. Petersburg, specifically Madeira Beach, and then I went to New Smyrna Beach to check it out, and then I came down here. And this was always a plan. Miami is one of the only nonstop flights to Buenos Aires, and it's about an 8.5-hour flight. So making it happen, I'm bringing a backpack, carry-on, and 1 larger suitcase. And, you know, I'm less about what I want to do there work-wise, more just, you know, what I hope to get out of it is something like this, like filming myself and being able to talk about my feelings and not feel too awkward. And so learning how to use a camera. I have never used one. I bought one in Peru, or for Peru, but I returned it the second we got back, just to couldn't afford it. But yeah, so I hope this actually comes out looking nice. It's one of the more discount cameras. Trying to save money where I can. So saying this now for the trip, what are we doing? We're starting in Buenos Aires for about 2 weeks. After that, from the limited research, we're heading down to Mar del Plata, which is one of the beach coastal cities in Argentina. Don't really know what to expect. Both cities seem great. We just can't really decide. It's reverse climate, so December, January, February is the summertime for Argentina. So right now it's like mid 70s every day to high 80s. The weather honestly seems perfect. It's less than half the humidity that it is here for summer. So I feel like it's going to be so nice. And that's in the more northern areas where it's very hot. So the more south you go, you know, it gets colder and colder, thankfully. So we're going to hang out in the beach city because we feel like we might be living there long term as like our more like long term area. So we're going to be there for 3 weeks, and during that 3 weeks, we're going to spend time in hostels, and it's a little more of an expensive city, so figure that out, but plan our long drive across the country. We're going to get a rental car after that 3 weeks, and by then it'll probably be towards the end of February, and we want to drive straight to I'm gonna totally butcher the name. It's like El Chatelan or something. It's not, it's the longer city name of the two for Patagonia. So we want to go there, take my dog hiking. You know, he is a little older, so I want to get this all out now. You know, the younger he is, the better. So hiking is his favorite thing back home, so I want to make this work for him. And it'll actually be right around his birthday too. So technically we're hiking for his birthday up in Patagonia. So at least a week hiking through the mountains and hanging out. So I'm so excited for that. It's going to be the coolest thing in the world. It's one of the negatives of living down in Florida. One of the few negatives, but then this is TBD pending because I need to find a way to get my dog approved temporarily to go to Chile, because in order to go to Ushuaia, I believe it's pronounced, or Ushuaia, it's the most southern city in the world, and it's kind of like the port right before you take all the rich cruise boats to Antarctica. We're definitely not doing that. I can't afford it. It's about $50,000 just to board the boat. So zero chance, but the city is just this beautiful port city, and there's penguins and sea lions everywhere, and it's beautiful nature. But you, if you look up Argentina and Chile on a map, they're attached to each other. So the border is really weird. You would have to cut into Chile just to make it work. So I don't really know how realistic that is to actually make happen, but I might just let my friend ditch me for a little bit, and then I'll figure out what I'm going to do. Apart from that, I mean, the biggest thing I really want to do is, you know, just learn Spanish, acclimate, assimilate to the culture, and again, kind of already mentioned it, but just forget all the shit that everyone here worries about 24/7. And I worry about it more than most of my friends too, just for whatever reason. But again, the point of this move is to kind of not do that. You know, again, life is so short, it's so spontaneous, and anything can happen. And I lost two best friends over the last year and a half or so, or excuse me, 3 years, but one was very recent. The other was about 2.5, 3 years ago. And yeah, I just, they were both extremely random, and not that those specific moments, you know, taught me this, but it definitely kind of heightened my idea that life is short. And my biggest fear is like working my ass off and, you know, saving the money that I have and not being able to use it, because anything can happen. And, you know, I want to be able to say that I didn't let anything limit me. My family life or my situations back home or finances or anything. I wanted to do something, so I made it happen. And, you know, I'm so excited for this trip. I'm going to delete my Snapchat. I'm going to probably keep one and add just a couple close friends to a new one, just because I won't have a phone number to really connect with people. And I'm definitely going to miss my friends when I'm down there. And probably keep Instagram just because, you know, whatever reason. But I want to reset my brain, and I think I've planned pretty well. Again, I've done a lot of trips, and I've been solo for a lot of these, but I didn't even mention I was able to convince my best friend to come down. So I definitely thought he was not going to come. So that's kind of a new part of this whole plan, but I was ready to go alone. But that's just going to make everything so much better. We'll see how long he stays, but, you know, with my dog, I really plan on staying there for however long, you know, until he unfortunately passes away. And I want to give him the best time I can. So anytime we could spend on the beach or hiking or, you know, ski mountains, whatever, if the prices are right, I want to give him the coolest life he can have for a dog. And I also want myself to really, again, rambling, but there's so many ways to live your life. And I feel so judged in America by a lot of my close friends. And that sucks, because I want to travel and I don't care about gun culture or cars or fucking the clothes you wear or your $1,000 Gucci jacket. Like, it's stupid. I wear Shane any chance I get. For example, I'm sitting here with like a $1 ring, a $1 bracelet, like a $4 Shane shirt. I don't really like care about clothes or materialistic things. I never have. I never will. Even if I came into a lot of money, I would never care about it. I think there's so much more to life. And I want to spend it traveling. It's what I love. And, if not, this bug has been, bugging me for years to leave and actually do something new and get out of my comfort zone more. I've been traveling all around the US because I do work remote. Recently quit my jobs, but I lived in Arizona, I lived in Seattle, I lived in Tampa a couple times, St. Pete, again, all parts of Florida. Lived in Oregon for a little bit, and I've bounced around a lot, and it never really did anything for me. I think it's so cool to meet new people and seeing the different whatever landscapes of the countries, states, but the landscape of the U.S. There's a huge difference between being down in Tampa, Florida, where the weather's perfect every day and you have these beautiful beaches and palm trees, but you don't really have a lot of things that Washington has. You don't have these beautiful hikes and waterfalls and, just more like grass and beautiful nature and things to do during winter. And then you have Arizona, which I loved the people probably the most out of any state I lived in the U.S. But the climate and the geographics and the landscape was horrible. From someone that grew up, in a small town with a lot of nature, just seeing pure desert everywhere is just kind of awful. It's also, I only lived there for the winter. I got out because it was just a little too expensive where I was, and the electricity bill was already getting to $300 a month in January, so I got out as soon as I could. But all the grass is fake. Even around the university where I was, it's just not green or beautiful. It's just gross. And yeah, again, someone might be offended by that, assuming anyone actually watches this, but I didn't have a car there, so I didn't really get to explore anything else. And again, I don't think it's a place for a dog either. I think that's probably my biggest thing. A lot of the moves I do, again, it's always my dog's my other half, so he's just as important for the preferences as I am. So it's kind of it. 27-minute video of me rambling and probably not saying anything important, but I'm really excited to go. I'm leaving behind a lot of very good friends, but again, I already bounce around a lot, so they all know that. They fly to see me. We do trips. They always come down to see me for Halloween because it's a lot more fun down in Florida than it is up in Washington, stuff like that. And my brother, my mom are back home in Spokane, and then my sister is kind of more of the inspiration for a lot of this. She's her half-sister, but she traveled pretty much from 18 until I think her late 20s. Oh, good boy. And yeah, she's been everywhere, and a lot of my opinions on traveling in life I got from her, so I'm very thankful. But definitely an unconventional family, but they understand why I'm leaving, so it is what it is. If financials are right, then I'll definitely try to come home for Christmas and whatever. So that's all I got, and I'm excited to film another one of these because it was a little less awkward than I thought. So if this just goes to myself, reflection is awesome, and I think it'd be so cool to watch and listen to this in a couple of years, or a month from now, or 3 months from now, or wherever the hell I end up. And if any of my friends are watching, or whoever else, assuming this actually goes public, I love you all. I love you guys. Anyone I met on any of my trips especially, and people I grew up with. And I think everyone, again, has a way different path in life, and that's what's so cool about everything. You don't have to live in this bubble of your city or your culture and your country, and you could do whatever makes you happy. because in a non-nihilistic way, you know, it's nothing really matters, and you should do what makes you happy. And for me, that's this. It's to not care about the opinions of other people and what's considered successful in America, and to actually go and let's do what makes me happy. And I'm so excited for that. I think that, you know, I hope that this will be really good for me. And regardless, I don't think you'll ever regret doing something. You know, it's always a lesson learned. I've yet to go to a country where I wasn't extremely thankful to be there and wishing I was, you know, back in the US at any point. I've never really had that thought. Right around that 2-week mark, I get nervous because I miss my dog so much, and I kind of get like sick because of that. But never once have I really just been like, damn, I need to go back to the US. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll see how my Spanish is going, you know, in a couple weeks or whenever I film this. So thanks for watching, I guess, and I will hopefully film another one of these. So thank you. Bye.